After getting lost in the woods, a girl finds a mysterious house where 3 survivors live. Every night, mysterious creatures watch them through a glass wall. The movie begins with the point of no return number 108 in the woods. It is crossed by a man in a red jacket. But, due to missing the lessons of the little boy scouts at school, he finds himself in front of the sign again. The time is late, birds are flying in the sky, and the man feels anxious. Trying to get rid of this feeling, he climbs a tree, but the branch treacherously breaks and he falls, repeating the fate of Winnie the Pooh. When he regains consciousness, he crawls to his backpack for his knife, peering into the fog. Suddenly, he is dragged underground, to the sound of screams for help. At the center of the story is a girl named Mina. She works in a pet store and is tasked with delivering a parrot to a customer. After bringing the bird home, she remembers her dead mother, 15 years after her death. Mina puts on a mourning wig and goes to a bar to pick up smarmy boys, creating a fictional persona, believing that the real her does not attract the opposite sex. In the morning, she continues to transport the parrot. Traveling through scenic Ireland, Mina spends her time alone, smoking a vape at a gas station and listening to messages from her sister about her mother's wake. Ignoring the many announcements of missing hikers in the area, her navigator directs her into the woods, where communication is lost and the radio transmits only static. In the old tradition of horror movies, her car breaks down. Seeing a sign saying, "Point of no return," Mina decides to check to see who lives nearby, but after changing her mind, she decides to walk back to her car, but loses her bearings. She sees a flock of birds and a woman running, ignoring her screams. Chasing the woman, Mina ends up at the bunker. The woman tells her to run away if she wants to live and starts a countdown. Utterly bewildered, Mina enters the bunker and the woman closes the door. Inside are 3 people, Madeline, Kiara, and Daniel. They explain that monsters nicknamed caretakers cannot enter the building, but view them every night through a mirrored wall. Every night as night falls, the caretakers appear and watch through the glass. Mina is asked to step forward to assess the new girl. In the morning, when the mirrored wall turns into a regular window and the door opens, Mina leaves, despite the assurance of the others that she will not get out. Wandering through the forest, Mina sees a figure she runs away from. Upon reaching a cliff, she sees the endless woods. Madeline finds her and tells her that they all tried to get out at some point, but were unsuccessful. Being in the woods for so long causes hallucinations. There are point of no return signs along the path. From the shelter to the point of no return is a half-day's journey, and one must hurry to avoid the darkness. In the evening, Kiara dances for the caretakers, while the others watch old TV. In the morning, the group goes out to get supplies, and Mina goes with Kiara. Kiara talks about her husband who left for help 6 days ago. She warns Mina that if you see the caretakers, you could go crazy, like watching Turkish soap operas. Kiara shows Mina the hole leading to the dungeon where the caretakers are hiding. It turns out that she and her husband got here 5 months ago. The locals explain the rules to Mina. Don't turn away from the mirror, don't open the door at night, don't go near the burrows and stay in the light. However, at Kiara's suggestion, the new girl is already breaking the rules by going unpunished. Mina taps on the mirror with her fingers and puts her ear to hear sounds from outside. Receiving no response, she goes to bed, but soon hears an answering knock from the other side. Madeline orders her to stay still and let herself be examined. The next day, Mina goes with Daniel to check the traps in the woods. In the process, they notice a strange human figure lurking in the forest mist. The guy has been here for 8 months. Mina feels resentment about all the rules coming from Madeline. She doesn't trust the old woman and starts looking for allies. She brings Daniel to the burrow to help her climb down a rope. Inside, she finds old things: a newspaper from April 1992, a video camera, a toy, and a rusty bicycle. Mina, with Daniel's help, pulls them out of the hole. While waiting for Daniel to raise the rope, the girl hears a voice asking what she is doing here. A hand appears out of the darkness, but disappears when caught in the light. Mina makes her way outside using the rope. When she returns, she shows her findings and lies that she found them in the woods, not in the dungeon. Madeline immediately notices that she's hiding something. Daniel hooks up a camera to the TV, and they set it up outside to film the caretakers. However, John, Kiara's husband, shows up at the door instead. Madeline won't let him in, believing it to be a trap. To dispel her doubts, she suggests that Ciara check by asking her husband something that only he knows. John fails the test, but when his wife asks him to lean into the camera, he complies. It looks like it's really him, but before Kiara can open the door, something abruptly carries him away. Followed by something taking the camera as well, depriving the people of the ability to watch from the outside. Madeline orders everyone to line up in front of the mirror, which shows a crack from the impact. The caretakers are clearly not happy. In the morning, the group heads to the burrow to dump their finds and restore their status. In the dark dungeons, something takes away a bicycle. Mina begins to have flashbacks from her childhood, when she was cranky during the ride and mocked her mother. Her mother was distracted by her antics, leading to a fatal accident. Mina now blames herself for her mother's death and avoids socializing with her sister, who saw everything. In her free time, the girl explores the forest, mapping the area with landmarks and writing the results on the floor of the shelter. One day she notices Kiara heading toward the burrow before it gets dark, only to jump down in despair. At that moment, their attention is drawn to Madeline's scream. Daniel has attacked her and tied her up to leave her in the woods overnight. Daniel runs away, Kiara runs after him, and Mina stays behind to free the woman. When they get back to the bunker, the door is closed, and the guy hiding inside refuses to let them in. Madeline leads Mina to a hiding place across from the bunker where they hide, watching Daniel and Kiara stand in front of a mirror, waiting for the caretakers. Lurking and hiding, Madeline and Mina see the terrifying creatures emerge from the forest. They stand next to the trees, watching the windows of the bunker, where only 2 people are visible instead of 4. After counting as many as 2 times, the monsters scatter to find the shortage. Seizing the moment, Madeline and Mina rush to the door, convincing Daniel to break the rules and open it. Mina shares her story of her mother's death with him to induce guilt and get him to let them in. The emotional pressure works, and the door opens. Madeline warns everyone that breaking the rules will have dire consequences and tells everyone to stand in front of the mirror. At the same time, she confesses that she has been keeping important information from them. Madeline says that while studying mythology, she came to this forest where she met fairies. Not good fairy tale creatures, but ancient creatures that copy humans. They observe humans through glass, studying their behavior. To confirm Madeline's words, there is a knock on the door, and Kiara's voice repeats a recent conversation with her husband. Then the voices of others are heard repeating overheard phrases. Suspecting that the caretakers want to break down the door, the men put a table under it. As they shift the furniture, they notice a half-covered door. Daniel breaks the deadbolt and finds a trapdoor with a ladder down. Mina goes down the stairs. The others follow, closing the lid before the caretakers break the mirrored wall. The stairs lead the fugitives to a lab that looks like a bomb shelter. This is where someone has been studying the caretakers. Mina finds a working computer with Professor Rory's video reports saved on it. The scientist describes how he studied the caretakers and built a fortified bunker, hiring poor laborers, who he then sacrificed to the monsters outside. The professor manages to trap one of the creatures in a cage. Mina opens the last videotape, where the professor says he became attached to the captured fairy, but then decided to kill her and himself. He left the boat on the river and offers to follow the direction of the bird traffic to get out. If successful, he asks that his research at the university be destroyed. The men decide to move out in the morning. Kiara decides to celebrate her last night in captivity with a dance, attracting Daniel. During the dance, he talks about his abusive father who beat him. Daniel escapes from home before being taken into the woods. In the morning, the captives go upstairs. The building has lost its marketable appearance, the glass is broken, and the door has been kicked in. Realizing that there is nothing more to catch here, they begin their journey, following the marks left by Mina on the map. Madeline reminds them that the woods will try to trick them like the pathetic Bernie Madoff, so they need to be careful. They soon find the right signpost. Mina takes the parrot out of its cage to point the way with its bird sense. The bird flies forward, leading the men. They reach a stone burial ground with images of mythical fairies. Madeline recalls the legend of how the monsters lost a war with humans and remained prisoners of this forest. The walk becomes less pleasant when it begins to rain. On the way, they meet a flock of birds leaving the dangerous surroundings. It is getting dark, and the fairies start to come out of their holes. They reach the riverbank and find the boat left by the professor. As they run to it, Daniel is called by John, asking for help. The women don't notice the boy lagging behind. Daniel pulls an injured John out of the woods, who turns out to be a fairy shapeshifter that has taken his form. The monster kills the young man right in front of the women who are leaving on a boat, after which it takes his form. Looking back at the shore, the fugitives see dozens of other monsters coming out of the forest, creepy in their unnaturalness and furious at missing their prey. The boat floats all night on the river. In the morning, upon waking up, Mina sees a bridge with a bus traveling over it. The women ask for a ride, not believing they have escaped. Even the faithful parrot is back in its cage. After reaching home, Mina takes a shower and remembers the past. She is flooded with memories of a car accident with her mother and sister. The next day, she goes to the university. Identifying herself as Professor Rory's niece, she collects his tapes. On one of the tapes, the scientists tell her that in addition to pure-blood fairies, there are half-breeds, hybrids with humans who can change appearance and even transform into objects. Looking at the pictures, Mina sees something that surprises her. In the evening, Mina visits Chiara and shows her an old photo of the professor, where he is dancing with his wife, Madeline, who died before the bunker was built. Mina assumes that the Madeline they know is a caretaker immune to sunlight, like Blade. When the real Chiara shows up, it turns out that Mina was talking to the disguised Madeline. The caretaker knocks out the mistress and takes on the guise of Mina, intending to take her identity. Mina convinces her that she is not just a fairy, but a hybrid with a human, which explains her ability to tolerate sunlight and her tendency toward compassion. The caretaker, giving in, changes shape and regrows her lost wings, then flies away. Mina meets with her sister, recounting what happened. She is certain that Madeline has been secretly following her, changing her appearance. The camera slowly zooms in on the window, showing the girl standing outside. The modified Madeline, like her kin, continues to watch Mina. This is the end of the movie.